The boy has leaves growing on his legs which can't be cut off. James and Cynthia Green are a happily married couple who have been trying to have a child for a while now but have had no luck. Cynthia, also known as Cindy, works at the local museum while James works at the pencil factory. Their doctor says that they have tried enough and even explored every medical option, so it's time for them to give up and face reality. Defeated, they come back home. Cindy couldn't control herself and kept crying. She says to James that they are going to move on, but he says that he can't do that after dreaming about having a child for so long. He convinces Cindy to imagine their ideal child one last time and writes down all the qualities on the paper of a notepad. They want their child to be an honest and kind person who is good at soccer and also plays music. They then store all the pages in a wooden box and bury them in their garden. They go back to their bedroom to sleep. After some minutes, they both wake up to a loud thunderstorm and heavy rain. Cindy lays down again while James goes into the kitchen to get a drink for himself. When he comes back, he lays in bed with Cindy, saying that everything will be okay. James gets a shock in his life when suddenly Cindy appears in the doorframe. He jumps away from the thing in the bed. He pulls the covers off and finds the bedsheet covered in mud. They both cautiously walk around the house, looking for the mysterious thing roaming around. They are searching in the living room when they hear music playing from upstairs. They rush toward the voice and are shocked to find a kid covered in mud playing with toys inside the room. He quietly says hi and introduces himself, saying that his name is Timothy. Cindy softly talks with him and says that if they can clean him up, to which the little boy agrees. James goes downstairs and calls the police, but hangs up halfway when he sees something strange in the garden. He runs upstairs to call Cindy, but is surprised to know that she also wants to show him something. Cindy saw something on Timothy while bathing him and wanted to show it to James. Cindy decides to go first and shows the game Timothy's legs with little leaves growing on them. Timothy says that they can look at the leaves but requests that they not ask about them. Cindy carefully takes his leg and tries to pluck a leaf, but Timothy winces as soon as she pulls it. She quickly releases his leg. The games get her attention again and say that she needs to see something in the garden. When they go outside, Cindy is shocked to see that there is a hole where they had buried the box, and the wooden box is torn into pieces. As they were trying to process the situation, a police car pulled up in front of their house. They ask James about his call earlier, but he says that they thought they had a burglar, but it was just a raccoon. Police officers believe him. However, they warn him about the amount of water in his garden. When he says it rained, the officers laugh at him, saying that it must have rained specifically in his house, leaving James confused. James quickly covers the hole with mud again and goes inside. The three of them are sitting in the kitchen talking. Cindy says that Timothy can call Cindy and James or Mr. and Mrs. Green, but to their surprise, Timothy calls them Mom and Dad. Shocked, Cindy and James go to talk in private. Cindy says that they had only one name planned if they had a boy, and that was Timothy. She says that he came particularly for them. James also agrees with his wife. When they go back into the kitchen, Timothy is sleeping on the counter. They carefully pick him up and take him to bed. The next morning, they are all sleeping when the doorbell rings. Timothy gets up before them and runs to open the door. He introduces himself to the woman, saying that he came here last night from the garden. Cindy and James quickly ran after him and brought him back inside. The woman on the door is Cindy's sister, as their family is here for the weekly get-together. They talk to him, saying that he is going to meet some people, so he should be ready for it. Cindy says that, unlike him, other kids came from their mother's belly, so Timothy will have to keep it secret that he came from the garden because other children might not understand him. James comes out to their family and announces that they adopted Timothy. He says that everyone knew they were trying to have a child for a while now, but it happened so suddenly that they couldn't inform anyone. Their family seems to buy their lies about Timothy. James' dad also joins them. They introduce Timothy to everyone individually. They have a good time at the picnic. Jim, James' dad, plays dodgeball with all the children. Cindy and James are worried because Timothy is surely going to get hit, but he doesn't seem to care. Suddenly a girl appears on the road on her bicycle, immediately catching her attention of Timothy. As he was busy looking at the girl, his grandfather hit him on the head with the ball. Later, they take him to a gardener named Reggie so he can cut his leaves, but when he tries to do so, the scissors break but the leaves don't budge. They then realize that leaves cannot be taken from the boy and they will have to find another solution. Cindy and James enrolled Timothy in the local school and drove him to his first day. They made him wear high knee socks so other students couldn't see his legs. Cindy put almost everything in his bag with an extra pair of socks. After dropping Timothy off at school, they go to work but soon receive a call from the school. They rush towards the school and find Timothy drenched in different substances. The principal says that he refuses to tell him any names, so that's why he called them. Timothy says that it was an art project and he doesn't get bullied, but they didn't believe him. After some coaxing from James, he finally whispers something in his ear. Later in the day, the three of them go to James's boss's house because his children were the ones who bullied Timothy. The children come out and instead of denying that they bullied the boy, they say that it was no fun because he doesn't give any reaction to them. To cover their bluntness, their mother quickly says that they are having a pool party next week and Timothy is invited to attend. Timothy's interest perks up, and he quickly agrees to join the party. His main reason for attending the party is to see the cycling girl again, as he saw him earlier at his school. On the day of the party, Timothy goes to his bully's house and sees the girl there. He decides to swim and jumps inside the pool but doesn't come back up again, even after a while. The girl saw that and jumped into the pool to save Timothy. She holds his leg and tries to take his socks off. In the fear that she will see his leaves, Timothy kicks her in the head. His first interaction plan doesn't go the way he wanted it to. When he is coming back from the party, James and Cindy ask him about the party. He tells them about the incident and asks for their advice. James says that he should avoid her at any cost and make sure to run the other way if he sees her coming. Later, his plan seems to work, just with a little difference that the girl is chasing Timothy. She stops him and shows him a big red mark on her shoulder, saying that he is not the only one with a secret. They find common ground and seem to get along very well based on it. The girl gives Timothy a ride on her bicycle, and they go around the whole town. Cindy and James saw them going around and are worried because they think it is too soon for them to be getting along like that. Finally, Timothy and the girl finally end their wandering in an open place and bid each other goodbye. One day, Timothy lies on the ground for a while, and when he stands up to go back, one of his leaves falls from his leg. When Timothy comes back home, he runs straight to his room and puts the leaf in an envelope and writes the girl's name, Joni, on it. Cindy and James come to his room and tell him that they have to go to the hospital as Uncle Bub, Cindy's uncle, is sick and has been admitted to the hospital. When they go to the hospital, the whole family is there. They have a light chit-chat with the man. When they are all about to leave, he requests to leave Timothy with him for a while. He talks to him for a while and makes him laugh with his jokes. Suddenly, the machine starts beeping, and all of them rush inside to check on the man. Another leaf falls from Timothy's leg. Cindy and James want to put Timothy on a soccer team, so they go to the coach to talk about the matter. He refuses at first, but after Cindy talks to him again, he agrees to take Timothy into his team called Erasers. Timothy is not good and keeps falling, but he doesn't give up and gets back up every time. The coach is impressed by his attitude and asks him to run with the team. Joni joins him in the run on her bicycle. Later at home, James helps him practice, and they also have a talk about girls. They say there are a lot of fish in the sea and he will find the perfect one for him in the end. James has some problems with his boss at the pencil factory where he works and comes back home very sad. When Timothy tries to joke at the dinner table, he softly stops him, saying that he is not in the mood and going inside. Cindy and Timothy come to the room after a while with a blanket and a basket of fruit. They set the blanket down and lit the candles. James's mood seems to brighten up a little bit, and he tells Timothy about him and Cindy. James also tells him about his work and says that it is difficult to think that they may not make any more pencils like they used to do. Timothy says that they can make a new one. He says that James can design it and that they can both work on the idea. Even though they think it is not possible, they will start to work on it, not wanting to deny Timothy anything. They work for days and eventually make a new pencil from the leaves. In the meantime, Timothy and Joni meet up in the woods almost every day, working on something of their own. Cindy takes Timothy to work with her so she can watch over him, but Timothy's honesty costs her job. Her boss has a new painting of her in the museum. Everyone says that it is a great painting, but Timothy, being very honest, says that it is average and he can do better than that. When he makes her portrait, he makes sure to include every little detail and draws her chin hairs too. Cindy also musters up the courage and tells her boss everything she thinks about her and gets fired. Luckily, James still has his job and takes Timothy with him. He sees his boss distraught and tells him about the new pencil idea. His boss is on the call, so James silently puts the pencil on his table and walks outside. Meanwhile, Cindy is worried about Timothy hanging out with Joni, so she decides to follow the girl. She follows her into the woods and talks to her, saying that her son is different, but she will not let Joni or any other person hurt him. Joni keeps walking, and they reach the place where the children hang out. Cindy is shocked to see that they made a very beautiful place with the fallen leaves. Joni tells her that Timothy and she made it together. Cindy realizes that she was wrong about the girl and she is no harm to Timothy. Cindy and James go with Timothy again to see him play football. James is worried because his father is also there, and he thinks that he will be hard on Timothy too, as he was on James in his childhood. Cindy tries her best to calm him down so he won't go and do something stupid. Brenda, Cindy's sister, comes to sit with her and asks Cindy how she will send Timothy to college as he is not good at soccer. Not knowing what to say, Cindy blurts out that he is great at music. After some days at an event, Brenda calls Timothy on the stage to check his skills. But to everyone's surprise, he is great at music and they all put on a great show as Cindy and James also join him. Later, at home, they put Timothy to sleep, saying that they were so proud of him. When the leaves leave his room, he silently sits up and puts another fallen leaf on the bedside table and turns off the light. Cindy and James dance happily outside Timothy's room, knowing that Timothy is exactly what they had written on the paper and that he will undoubtedly score the championship's final goal, as they had also written on the papers. On the day of the match, Cindy and James are very excited. James stops his dad from going away, saying that he has to watch this match. Cindy talks to James and says that how will Timothy score if he is not in the match? James goes to talk to the coach, but he doesn't agree to let Timothy play. After the match starts, two students collide, and the one from the erasers has to be benched. Timothy gets into the game. The coach says to Timothy that the only thing he had to do was to stay on the spot. Seeing that, James shouts and tries to motivate Timothy to participate, but he doesn't budge. Soon, Timothy spots Joni standing there holding a board to support him. Just as he was looking at her, the ball comes to him. Now motivated after seeing Joni, she starts to run with the ball. James and Cindy are ecstatic and bragging to everyone about how great their child is at soccer. Timothy kept running with the ball and kicked it with all his force, sending it into the pool and scoring a goal. But unfortunately, he sent it to the wrong side and scored for the opposite team. Their team loses the match, and they all come back home very sad. Another leaf falls from his leg. Later at home, he is in his room getting changed when he hears Cindy and James arguing. He goes to the kitchen and asks them to stop as he has something to tell them, but they say that they are sorry and will try to be better parents next time. Upset by their arguing, he decides to not tell them about it for now. After some days, there is a meeting in the town about the closing of the pencil factory. The owner says that originally the meeting was about the closing of the factory, but things have taken a turn as they have created another pencil and shows everyone the pencil created with leaves. He tries to give credit to his son, but Timothy goes on the microphone and says that his parents made the pencil. Cindy's boss comes forward and asks the owner's son about his motivation to create the pencil. When he couldn't muster an answer, she then turns towards Greens. Cindy tells them about their motivation to create this pencil, that their son has leaves on his legs. Nobody believed them, so Timothy had to show them his legs. Everybody is surprised but believes them now. Cindy and James are shocked to see that Timothy has only one leaf on his legs. When they are coming back from the meeting, the strong wind starts blowing. They have an idea that Timothy knows about this, so they ask him about what is happening. When they go inside the house, Timothy tells them that his time was limited and as the leaves go, he has to go too. He says that he hadn't told them before because they couldn't do anything about it. He says that they are ready to adopt a child and hugs them both. Suddenly, the light goes out as a thunderous sound comes from outside and Timothy disappears. They started to cry heavily. They both went outside and dug the hole again. They are surprised to find the box there with a letter from Timothy inside. In the letter, he wrote that he had given all his leaves to the people he had encountered here. He says that they were great to him and he is sure they will be the best parents. After some time, they go to the adoption center. The lady asks them what prepared them to be parents. The couple tells her the whole story about Timothy. The lady listens to them and then walks away, saying that they will be informed later. A few days later, a car pulls up in front of their house. They are the people from the adoption center with a little girl named Millie. Cindy and James introduce themselves to the girl and tell her that she can call them whatever she wants before welcoming her into their home. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.